Hi everyone at Orange Wall TV, this is Ahad Raza Mir.
So coming to Yakeen Ka Safar, obviously, it has taken the whole country by storm. And it's very rare that somebody comes in and with something, obviously you got that recognition, like people knew kind of who you were, but with Yakeen Ka Safar it's really blown up. So two things. Was it hard to portray a character who again goes through quite a tangent? They go out, it's quite transformation for the character as well, because he's almost like a different person and then transforms into
completely
somebody else. But then when you're that somebody else, you can also see that this person is not just this person, if you know what I mean. With your acting you can show that there's a lot of baggage behind it. So how difficult was it to play that?
I think it was difficult, but I think me and Shahzad had planned it in such a way that that allowed me to be comfortable with the progression of it, because he's such a happy character. In the beginning, he's never seen any pain. So, especially when I first read the script and I'm reading the first half and I'm going, this guy's fun, and then you read the second half, you're like, what happened? And I think especially for people who maybe had not watched the drama from the beginning and kind of came in halfway, for them it's if they're enjoying it and they're going, wait, isse pehle bhi kuch hua tha, they're like, it's actually really interesting for them to there's two audiences I think right now for Yakeen Ka Safar. There's the people who followed it from the beginning and have been part of this beautiful transformation that's been happening, and then there's the people who've watched it halfway and then are going back, and it's actually a very in its planning, it's a very interesting drama. I think he's like that I think the effect that what I was trying to play with was the boy, like Asfi was still in there somewhere. He's still in there. I think that's why people relate to him so much, is because they can see the pain. They can see that, okay, something's there. That boy, that little brother is still there.
And what was easier to play between? It's almost like two different characters, isn't it?
I think Dr Asfandyar was easier to play.
That was easier to play. Why?
I think because, I don't know, I think I personally relate to him a little bit. So I think that's why I kind of, it was a bit, I won't say easy, but I think the performance side of it was a bit more natural, I think. Whereas I felt that, if I'm being critical of myself, I felt that in the first half I was quite active, Asfand, Asfi, he's dancing and all this stuff. And then in the second half, he completely he was so relaxed. He was more kind of like where I sit. So I think the best part about it is both Asfandyars have a bit of Ahad in them. So I think that's why it was a lot of fun as well.
Amazing. And were you expecting this kind of euphoria?
Was I expecting this? No, not at all, not at all. So it's I'm honored that people enjoy the story and that they enjoy the performance, and there's literally nothing else I could ask for. So when people are appreciating the work that this team has put in, it's a very good feeling. And when that story kind of sits with them, and sometimes I read comments and I read reviews that people have written, and when they write about things that you really put your mind to, and you were like, oh, I think this will be a good moment, I think this will be a good line or good dialogue to give, and people, and that registers with people, that's the best feeling. Because I think about there's certain moments where, for example, Kabhi Kabhi Dil Chahta Hai Ki Rasta Khatam Na Ho, like that was actually, we sat there for like an hour, like, hey, what's the best way to finish this moment? And we sat there, we discussed, and we really thought it through. So for that one dialogue to become so popular is such a great feeling for all of us, for me, for Sajal, for Shahzad bhai, for the entire team, because we really put a lot of work into every moment.
Wow, it shows. That shows. What's the best compliment you received so far for your work?
For my work, okay.
Or otherwise, I guess, but for your work.
It's funny, I usually don't pay too much attention to the compliments. I listen to the criticism, like what was wrong, what can I fix. But there was this one day, I still remember this. There was this one scene we did. Actually, if drama to ho gaya to, like it was the scene with Faryal. where his old mangetar comes back and he kind of tells her off, and that was a pretty long sequence that we shot at night. So after the scene, Shahzad bhai calls me and he's like, "Aaj tum Ahad Raza Mir ho." I was like, okay, because there's the Raza Mir stamp, but then for him to say like, today you are Ahad Raza Mir, today you've become you have your own, so that was a really good feeling for somebody to actually say that to me, like, you have your own presence now. So
that's such a right. And what's the best piece of advice you've received so far in life?
I think
like something that's really just stuck.
Two things, and they're both something that my father has taught me. The first is that there's a time for everything, so be patient and take it slow. When things need to happen, they'll happen. And the second thing that my father's always told me is to take risks. So for me, coming to Pakistan was a risk. I left my whole life because I was in Canada for 10-12 years. मेरे सारे दोस्त वहाँ हैं, मेरी चीज़ें वो they're all there, like my guitars, my books, all that stuff. But it really, at the end of the day, it was my father and my mother who kind of inspired me to be like, take the risk. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? So I am I think very blessed that I took that risk.
Absolutely. And are you still doing theatre in Canada as well?
I am. I might be going back in February to do a show. So I might be doing a Shakespeare show there.
We will give you a dialogue, right? And you have to say it like a couple of different people. Okay? Okay. So what we can do is actually, like, do you have a dialogue in mind? Maybe pick one from like Yakeen Ka Safar or.
There's a few. There's some good ones. What are some good ones from the show? I can't remember now. Kabhi kabhi dil chahta hai ki rasta khatam na ho. Then there's there's another good one.
That one was nice. Pura badal gaya hoon.
That's a good one. How did it go?
The way you said it, I was like, oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah, I remember that moment. It was very it was like bitter, but like he was kind of like, I've changed, what can I do? Line कहती was मैं भी बदल गया हूँ, यकीन करो पूरा का पूरा बदल गया हूँ.
Okay.
ठीक है.
So you have to say it how Dr. Zubia would say it.
मैं भी बदल गई हूँ, यकीन करो पूरी की पूरी बदल गई हूँ.
How would Sammi, like Mawra Hocane from Sammi would say?
मैं भी बदल गई हूँ, यकीन करो पूरी की पूरी बदल गई हूँ मैं.
How would Asfand say it?
मैं भी बदल गया हूँ, यकीन करो पूरा का पूरा बदल गया हूँ.
How would Sania Said say it? The character like she plays, so as a reference point.
मैं भी बदल गई हूँ, पूरी की पूरी बदल गई हूँ मैं.
That's actually very spot on. Fair enough. How would your father on the show, Ahad Raza Mir, how would he say it?
मैं भी बदल गया हूँ, यकीन करो पूरा का पूरा बदल गया हूँ.
And Khujasta. Sorry, Khujasta say it.
मैं भी बदल गई हूँ. Okay, Zubia Baji, मैं भी बदलना क्या है? We got it.
We have to get the point. Okay, the last one is, the receptionist who always has like bed number 835. Like poor girl, she only has like bed number 8.
Okay. मैं भी बदल गई हूँ, यकीन करें पूरा का पूरा बदल गया. That's, I think, the best way to do it. Very good receptionist.
Yeah.
तो Zubia वाला फिर से करना चाहिए. I think Zubia वाला is more like मैं भी बदल गई हूँ, पूरी की पूरी बदल गई हूँ सर. हाँ, ऐसे ही soft.
I don't even think the mic picked that up.
Yeah, probably not. Sir, मैं भी बदल गई हूँ. Hi everyone at Orange Wall TV. This is Ahad Raza Mir. If you enjoy this interview, make sure to like, subscribe, and share.